coming up here on Friday. Got a few days. Hopefully the weather will cooperate with us over the next few days so we can get some quality practices in. It's been very tough with the snow and the rain that we've had here, being able to get on the field and get quality work in. So, but we can't control the weather, so we don't worry about it. This weekend looks like it's going to be okay. We've got a heck of a club coming in here in Liberty. Liberty returns 3 guys that threw a ton of innings on the weekend for them. 2 left-handed starters and a right-handed starter that will sandwich in between those 2 lefties, and he is very, very good. Won 43 games last year. They returned 3 guys that were probably their best hitters. So they're going to be a tough opponent for us. We know that, but we're excited about the challenge, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to play somebody else.
Who are you going to start on in the first game?
Who are we going to start?
Yeah.
We're going to start Sam Weatherly in game 1. We're going to start Davis Sharp in game 2, and we are going to start Spencer Strider in game 3.
And what was your thought process on those 3 guys?
Well, there was a lot of talking yesterday. We met yesterday. I didn't get home till probably 8 o'clock last night. We spent a lot of time talking about it, and here's the thought process behind it. Spencer has to start. He's going to be on a limited pitch count probably for 4 to 6 weeks, and he has to start. We cannot pitch him out of the bullpen because of the nature of his rehab. So he has to start. If we start him in the middle of the week, which we discussed that, if we start him in the middle of the week and we're able to build his pitch count, it's going to be a very slow process of building his pitch count. We have no chance to get him on the weekend if we pitch him in the middle of the week, because he can't recover fast enough pitching on a Tuesday to be able to pitch and start on the weekend. So the thought process for us is to start him on Sunday, and basically we will have 2 guys in that game that we will look at as the starter. So I would anticipate seeing Matt Clark pitch behind him. And we're basically looking at Spencer and Clark. Could also be Spencer and Askew pairing up as 2 guys to make the starter. Sort of have to look at it as an opener, which is what some major league teams will do. They'll start a guy that is one of their better relievers at the front of the game, and then stretch a guy out behind him. So that's what we're going to do, because we want to try to build Spencer up to hopefully what could be 4 to 6 weeks into the season, we could have him on a regular pitch count, but we're not going to be able to do that for quite some time, and we have to start him.
Monte, with all the bad weather, I noticed when they pulled the tarp back a few minutes ago, you didn't look too enthused with the condition of that infield. Do you guys think in the next couple of days it'll bring itself back around?
Yeah, it's going to bring itself back around. I mean, the one thing that'll dry out the infield is wind and sunshine, and we haven't had a lot of sunshine, so the sun's popping out, so that's why we're taking it off right now. So, what we're hoping to do is get some sunshine on it today. We're probably going to hand rake it today to get the air in it and dry it out, and we're not going to practice till 5 o'clock today. So we actually pushed our practice time back to allow our fantastic grounds crew under the direction of Mike Eccles to work on the field and hopefully get it where we can practice on it tonight. We will hit on it today, but whether we'll be able to do anything else on it, is yet to be determined. But we need today and some sunshine and wind to dry it out. We probably have to put the tarp back on it because it's going to rain tomorrow. It's going to be dry on Thursday. So, again, it's just checking the forecast every hour on the hour and just trying to make the best decisions we can and maximize what we can do this week on it.
Did Sam Hall take that shortstop job, and how do you feel about the rest of the infield and see how it plays out?
Yeah, I would say Sam's going to be our shortstop, and he earned it. He certainly earned it, and it was a heck of a battle, between him and James. We felt like James, James was a high school shortstop, and felt like between Sam and him, that was going to be a heck of a battle, but we just feel like for us to put our best 9 guys on the field, that Sam will be playing short, and I anticipate James being our third baseman.
What does Sam do to get a starting role?
Can really catch and throw the baseball. When you look at a baseball field, there's three positions that you got to go with defense first over bat, in my opinion, the way that I look at it. Shortstop's one of those positions, catcher's one of those positions, center field is one of those positions. Every other position on the field, in my opinion, is an offensive position first. you want to be able to play defense where all over the field, but every other position in the infield and in the corner outfield positions and DH are all offensive first positions. So Sam was our best shortstop. He was the best defensive shortstop this fall and in the preseason. And, he deserves it because he was the most consistent.
You said Carter Raphael was chewing up some guys recently.
Yeah.
He's another guy coming off of an injury. Where do you see him kind of slotting in?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Carter is a little bit farther along than Spencer. His surgery was, he's probably 3 months ahead of Spencer. So he's a little bit more versatile. What we'll probably wind up doing with Carter, if we have an opportunity to use Carter this weekend out of the pen, we will. Now we will try to pick the time and the day to where this is the part of the game where we want to try to use Raphael if the score dictates that we can use Raphael. And we will have Carter ready to go. We'll have to plan that out, because he's not a guy, too, that you can just go down there and just have him throw 8-10 pitches real quick, get him ready to go. You have to kind of map it out that, hey, we're in the 5th inning. We want to use Carter in the 7th inning. Carter, you need to start throwing. Like when we get him going, we're going to pitch him regardless. You can't take a guy like that, again, that's coming off surgery and just, he's got to get amped up and put his foot to the gas pedal and go as fast as he can to come into the game like a regular reliever will a lot of times. He can't do that. We have to kind of map that out a little bit and plan ahead an inning at least to give him time to throw and get ready. That being said, I could see us potentially starting Carter, especially in the first week. We're playing 5 games. So we got 2 midweek games after opening weekend. So, I could see there being a scenario, and a lot of that's going to be dependent upon how we use him this weekend, but I could see us starting Carter potentially in one of those 2 games in the middle of the week. So I would say early on we're going to use Carter out of the bullpen, and then depending on how much we use him or we don't use him, then we may start him some in the middle of the week and just keep him going. He's a little more flexible than Spencer is in terms of how we use him because he's farther along in his rehab process.
Mike, I know you don't want to put all your marbles in the opening weekend of how a team does not, but given the fact you have so many new faces in the lineup, and you want to see these guys get off to some sort of good confidence, right, where they feel good about themselves coming out of the weekend.
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, we want to play well and we want to win. I mean, that's the goal. So, I mean, there's no doubt about that, but it's going to be a heck of a challenge. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if we've played a team opening weekend in my 5 years that has these types of credentials. A 43 win team that returns their whole weekend rotation. This is going to be a heck of a challenge. The great thing about this weekend, they're going lefty, righty, lefty. So it gives us the opportunity to do some matchups and play some young guys, platoon some young guys, and see what they can do in a highly competitive environment. But we feel good about our pitching staff, feel good about our defense, and we're excited about the opportunity to play.
Monte, talk about Davis and what you expect from him this year. Last year it seemed like he got a little tired towards the end of the year, especially on the mound. What do you guys do this offseason to maybe remedy that?
Well, we were very cautious with Davis in the fall. Davis is a guy that there's a lot of high volume on Davis. Davis pitched an awful lot of innings in high school before he got to Clemson, and obviously he's done both. So he's pulled double duty, for his whole baseball career. We did not pitch him at all this fall. We gave him the whole fall off and just let him play first base and swing the bat, just focus on offense. And we started to build him back slowly over Christmas break and get him ready to pitch when we got back in January. So big thing with Davis is we just have to be cautious with Davis. He's not a guy that we're gonna run up pitch counts on. He's gonna be a guy that we've got to make sure we piggyback somebody behind him too, that we can stretch out behind him. And I think you're gonna see that with us this year. Until these guys get into their 3rd, 4th, 5th starts of the year where, we feel like we can probably go out and let them throw 100 pitches. But we're just going to have to monitor his pitch count. We're also going to have to watch his velocity once his pitch count gets up into that 60, 70, 80 pitch range. What does the velocity and the stuff look like? Is he fatiguing? If he starts to show signs of fatigue, we got to get somebody else in there. Otherwise, he could be up and down just in terms of his health and overall strength throughout the year because he has to do so much on both sides of the ball. So really monitor how many ground balls he takes, how much defensive work, how many swings he takes, But also, we'll just have to kind of see how he does once he starts and once he gets towards the end of his start, what's his velocity and his stuff look like to be able to determine his workload in that next start. Do we increase his pitch count? The goal is to try to increase the starter's pitch count by 10 to 15 pitches per start. So whatever we go with on first weekend, we want to be able to go another 10 to 15 pitches in that second start, and then third start, usually by then, they're pretty much at full capacity. Davis may be a guy that we watch in those first two starts, and let's just see how strong is he physically with that type of workload and pitch count, and then we will determine, just how long we're going to give him, because he has to do so much on both sides of the ball. He's unlike most starting pitchers.
How comfortable are you with that strategy with all this pitching depth that you have? Does that put extra pressure on the Friday guy that he's got to go out and kind of grind up some innings? Because if you use all your bullpen on Friday, you're concerned about Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't look at it that way. I think here's, there's a lot of different ways that you can look at a 3-game series. I think that you want to have a horse on Saturday. You want to have a horse on Saturday that you feel like you can give the ball and he's going to win you the series, or he's going to get you right back in the series. So the Saturday starter is just as important, and sometimes maybe even more important than your Friday starter. What you want on Friday is you want your dominator. You want a guy that's got dominating stuff, has a chance to punch some guys out. When runners get on base, he's got a chance to punch guys out, and Sam has the ability to do that. He's got the best stuff. His stuff is electric. He's the best athlete. He's also a guy that can handle the workload. He's the strongest of the group. And he's also an incredible competitor and leader. So, but that being said, Sam's a guy too that there's at times, his pitch counts can get fairly high per inning. So we have to make sure that we have the ability to use some guys behind him. But we do feel like we have some strength in the bullpen that we can use even on Friday. If Sam gives us 5, we feel like we're going to be okay if we have the lead based on what we have behind him. And then we'll piggyback on Saturday and Sunday and take 2 guys and stretch that game out so that we can keep Carson short. I think that's going to be the biggest key for us. Is we got to be able to keep Carson Spires on short opportunities. There's going to be times where Carson is going to have to throw 2 innings to save a ball game. But if we can keep Carson on 1 inning when we run him out there, and keep him as strong as possible throughout the whole course of the season, that's ultimately what we would like to do. But again, we got Keyshawn Askew. Keyshawn Askew could start, and we wouldn't have any problem running him out there, pitching on Saturday, pitching on Sunday. We've got Matt Clark, behind Spencer Strider. We got guys like Rathfield. Mac Anglin's a name that everybody's going to be impressed with when they see him pitch. He's up to 95 with a power breaking ball, and he's a true freshman. He's going to be in the mix. There's a number of guys that we haven't even mentioned. Jeffrey Gilbert, another very talented freshman, is going to pitch high leverage innings out of the bullpen. So we feel good about our pitching, and we feel good about our pitching depth. And there's a number of names that that haven't even brought up. So I'm not overly concerned. The big thing is if we have the lead when Sam comes out, we feel like we got enough guys behind him, and we're going to do whatever we got to do to win that game, because we got Davis Sharp going the next day. And he's a big game pitcher, and he's a guy that's won a lot of games and pitched in some big situations. So we feel like he's the right guy to be able to handle game 2 for us.